I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. Um, I'm really interested in you guys' take on this topic. I'm bringing it up because it was a topic of conversation amongst a few friends of mine. And when an interesting topic like that comes up, I like to see what the world thinks, what my people think. And and it has to do with this whole idea of mother son dating. I definitely can't wait to see what what you guys have to say on this. Let me send a quick text message out to the family to let them know that we're live. If you want to get a text notification when we go live, all you have to do is text the word Boyce, Boyce, to 31996. Text Boyce to 31996, and you can do that right now. Actually, while I send that, take 10 seconds to send this text real quick. Hold on. Okay. All right. So, here's the deal. All right. So the whole conversation has to do with, this concept that, honestly seemed a little bit strange to me. I'm not gonna lie. It has to do with, mothers and sons going on date nights. Now, I'm not going to judge on that. If you're going on date nights with your son, don't think I'm making fun of you. This is not the objective. It's really more so to see what people think and to just have a conversation about it. Dr. Alicia, she's a therapist, and she talks all the time about appropriate boundaries and ways to kind of shape relationships in ways that make sense. And I wanted to get you guys' take on this. And so anyway, shout out your city, by the way. Feel free to shout out the city that you're coming in from. I always like to say that. Also, I want to say thank you to everybody who popped out in Chicago. We had a great time. We were talking about investing all day, how to become an investor in stock markets and your business and all kinds of stuff. So it was really, really good. And if you were there, so I hope you'll say something to let everybody know how great it was. I'm not doing many more of these. I'll do one more in Los Angeles, which will be in August for Harvest Festival Day with Dr. Claude Anderson. He's going to be there the day before. We're going to do something on the 11th, and I'll do the seminar on the 12th. That's drboycelosangeles.com. That's the URL. Then after that, the next month is going to be the All Black National Convention, which you can find out more at allblacknationalconvention.com. That's going to be really good. It's going to be in Houston. And then I'm going to do one more, probably in New York in October. I just got a text from Charlemagne about going back on the Breakfast Club. So I'll probably coincide a Breakfast Club trip with something I'll do in New York because I like my people in New York. I like doing stuff with you guys. So anyway, so here's so first of all, I want to say hello to everybody from all your different cities. I saw South Africa in there, and I saw some other cities in there, Daytona Beach and Miami and stuff like that. So I'll go and start reading some of your comments. I see Milo says, I don't see why not. L. Curry just says no. TZ Frank says no, that's weird to me. Shalonda says, huh? Well, that's funny. That's interesting, Shalonda. A lot of people had that response when I asked that question on my Instagram. If you follow me on the gram at the Real Boyce Watkins, I put the question up last night to see what the initial responses would be, and a lot of people were like, "What? Huh?" Like they were looking at me crazy, like, "Where did that come from? Like, what is that? Like, are people doing that?" But then you have people that were like, "No, there's nothing wrong." With mother-son alone time, one-on-one time. And I think everybody would agree with that. I mean, if you think that mother-son alone time on a regular basis is a good thing, say yes. Just say yes, or I think it's a good thing, or say something, to affirmative on that. Like, let me know. I assume you agree that mothers and sons spending time alone is a good thing. Okay, so given that hopefully most of us agree that that's a good thing, I think that what I've concluded is that it's not so much the mother-son alone time that is an issue. It's the concept of a date night, right? The idea that you're dating your mom, and dating is interesting in the sense I think it, when you talk about, you use that term date night, I think that it means something very different for men versus women. I think that when you think about the way relationships are constructed, the emotional component is important for males and females, but it's a little bit different for men versus women. For women, there are a lot more other dynamics besides just the physical. A lot of men, I know a lot of men who go on dates because they're hoping to get lucky. They're hoping to get some, at some point, and that's the process. Like, okay, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, and maybe one day I'll get rewarded. And you don't want to think that way when you're going out with your mom. Like, that's not, that don't work. If it's about forming emotional bonds, you can form emotional bonds anywhere. You can just talk on the phone. You can go and let's meet at Starbucks. Let's, we work together, whatever. But dating has a lot of times has a goal, right? And for a lot of people, more so men, I would say that a lot of times the goal is to get physical at some point, right? Or at least that's hopefully the objective. If somebody said, well, you're going to date this woman, like, we want you to go spend a bunch of money dating this woman, but she'll never get physical with you. There is no possibility whatsoever of any physical activity. All you get to do is spend all your money taking her out to eat, and that's it, and then it'll be done. Well, a lot of guys will say, nah, I think I'm gonna go date somebody I got a chance with, right? Whereas if you say that to women, you say, look, there's a guy that wants to take you out. He wants to treat you well. He wants to take you out for lots of fun, take you on trips around the world. But there's no chance of getting physical. He's never going to want to sleep with you, but he's going to form an emotional bond with you. He's going to be very nice to you and kind to you and have great conversations with you. Well, I would imagine that, not to be stereotypical, but I would imagine a lot more women would be happy to take up that offer than men, right? And so I think that a lot of it connects to the construct in terms of how we see dating. What do we see dating to mean? What's the goal of dating? What's going on through our minds? And the studies show that men are just generally more physical. Like, we can be sucked in by a big butt and a smile in a minute, And so I think that when you're connecting all those thoughts to your mom, it's just kind of strange. I don't know about other guys, but I know it would seem weird to me. If my mama says to me when I was a kid, if she said, "Hey, why don't we spend some time together? Why don't we go to the movies?" I'd be like, okay, that sounds like fun, right? Me and my mama went to the movies many times. Or my mama said, hey, I just wanted to have some time to talk to you, get to know you. Why don't we sit down and talk for a little bit? I'm like, okay, sure, that sounds good, mama. But if my mama was like, we're going to have date night next week, and we're going to go on a date, and I'm going to, get dressed up, and I want you to treat me like you would a girlfriend. I want you to take me out. Or if I was in high school, my God, and I'm running around, I'm filled with hormones, and my mom was like, oh, I'm going to get pretty for you so we could go on date night. We're going to go on a date. Don't forget date night. I'd be like, nah, mom. We're like, no, we're not doing date night. No, that's not, let's have alone time. Let's hang out. Let's get to know each other. You my buddy. You my dog, mama. Love you. Give me a hug. Give me a kiss. But I'm not going on a date with my mother. I'm not gonna lie. That's me. But maybe I'm old school. Maybe I don't fit into the world that we live in now. All right. So let me read some of your comments. Hit the thumbs up button. By the way, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button. And also share and subscribe. And also don't forget, next weekend in the Black Business School, we're actually doing a whole weekend long free event. Actually, I think it's 1 or 2 days. I think it might be 2 days. Julian Gordon, anyway, he's a real estate expert, and he's going to talk about getting into ownership of multifamily properties and things like that. So if you're interested in taking a look at that, go to theemancipationequation.com. That's theemancipationequation.com. And you can learn all about, renting 2-family buildings and making money that way. So it's just something that's sponsored by the Black Business School. So feel free to check that out. Theemancipationequation.com. All right. So let's see. Derek says, greetings to the good doctor. Why not? My daughter is 14, and yes, she should see how men should treat a woman. And this goes for boys as well. Well, I do agree with you, Derek. And maybe I'm old fashioned on that. I don't know. I think that a date night for a young lady is different for date night for a dude. A dude in high school, a lot of my friends in high school would have probably vomited if their mother was like, I want to go on a date with you. She could talk to him like, hey, if you talk to a girl, this is what you do. This is how you could teach that. I think that teaching it in the context of a date would be a little bit strange. And I think that when you think about daddy-daughter date nights, which by the way, I've never done that either. I never said to my daughter, I want to take you on a date. I've said, let's spend some time together. I have my daughter, my goddaughters. We spend lots of time together. We do lots of things together, but we don't call it a date. Like I don't say, hey, I want to date you. Oh, he's dating you. Oh, well, I want to date you too. You got to date me like you're dating him. Like, no, it's a different context. So maybe the word date is what it seems like. That's really the hang up. That's really the issue. right? Using the word date. And I think that there are ways to teach your son how to treat a woman without him practicing on his mama, you know, because there's a lot of things that go into dealing with a woman that you don't really want to even have your mama in the equation when you're thinking about that. So, all right, my bad. Have a good day. Hey, date night. You gonna take your son on any dates?
No.
Just checking. Yeah. He's 16, you know.
If I do, you check me.
Okay.
Alicia, that is so inappropriate.
Okay, got you, got you. All right. Well, the option's open. I'm sure you can. All right, bye. I love you too. She's on her way to work, and so I think that we all agree in this house that her son's 16. I don't think her son would want to go on a date with his mama. But anyway, some of the comments. If you go to the Real Boyce Watkins, I was looking at some of the comments to see what people were thinking. Carlito says nothing wrong with spending time with your family, but you call it a date night is weird. Your son isn't your partner. A lot of black single. Somebody says Rico Suave says a lot of black single mothers do this for some reason. What do you think? Do you think that that the date night concept is something that's more likely to be done if you're talking about a single mom with her son? And do you think that there's some sort of emotional void that the son is filling that the man would fill? You know, because you know, again, I do believe that in certain ways relationships have a stronger emotional component. You know, for women as opposed to men. It doesn't mean that the emotional and the physical doesn't apply in both cases, but you know, you'll see. You know, men and women are just different. Let's just say that men and women are not the same. They don't have the same, you know, men and women don't have the same incentives. They don't have the same reactions to things. And so, you know, the idea of the son kind of becoming the man of the house, I've seen that happen a lot. And I've also seen mothers stifle their son's development by making him the man of the house. I remember I had a friend whose girlfriends would just get so livid because his mother really saw him almost like a husband. His mother would deliberately sabotage his relationships. His mother did not think any woman that he ever brought home was good enough. His mother wouldn't get out of the way. His mother would deliberately call him at times where she knew he was alone with her man. Or excuse me, he was alone with his woman. And the girlfriends would be livid, and this was more than one woman. And then eventually, I think eventually he got his own apartment, but I don't think he ever got married. I think that I think he figured out eventually that he was already married, and that his mother wasn't into the infidelity. She wasn't going to share him with nobody. And so I will say that, you know, I think that maybe it seems like just the idea of the date, like just using that word, is probably what the issue is. It's not so much about the concept of mothers and sons spending time together. Now, let me see. I did a survey actually on Twitter. My Twitter account is Dr Boyce Watkins 1. Dr Boyce Watkins is the number 1 if you want to take a look. Let me see here. Okay, so I said, what do you think about mothers who have date nights with their sons? The 4 options are all moms should do this, which got a 14% response. It's a healthy activity. 34% said yes. So that's about 48%, almost half, actually felt that it's either healthy or all moms should do it. Then the next one was it's a little weird. That got 42%. And then the final answer was somebody called the cops. And that got 10%. So 52% of you said that you think it's weird or almost borderline incestuous. 48% of you said that it's okay, that it's healthy and it's fine. So it looks like it's literally split right down the middle. And so then I asked the men and the women separately. I said, you know, I asked the women, I said, you know, how would you feel if a man you were dating had monthly mandatory date nights with his mother? If his mother was like, you know, we got date night every month, you know, and his, you know, he's like, yeah, I got date night with my mama, you know, how would you feel? And let me see. Schoolgirl 6 says no man should be dating his mother. Spending time is different, however, and should be encouraged. Though there seems to be a blending of personal relationships and a lack of boundaries, which would bother me. That's a red flag. So she says it would be a red flag. Ladies, tell me what you think. She says it would be a red flag if a man was like, I go on dates with my mom, You know, me and my mom, and I think, and I can see that, right? It's mama's boyish, right? It's kind of like, well, me and my mom went on a date, and we go on date night once a month, and my mom, you know, like it just seems like you wonder if you might be dating like a serial killer, you know, and because that whole idea of disconnecting from the mother and flying with your own wings is a sign of strength and masculinity. Whereas if a woman says that she's very close to her father, we don't feel that that's such a bad thing. Like, I don't think a woman's weird if she lives with her parents and she's, you know, in her, say, 20s or even 30s. If there's, you know, if it all makes sense, if it adds up. Whereas I think a man who still lives with his parents or still follows his mom and does everything with his mom is seen a little bit differently. I think it should be. I think men and women are different, right? I don't think. I think that when people say, "Well, if it's okay for a man to do it, it's not. It should be okay for a woman to do it, or women do it. So why can't men do it too?" Because men ain't women. Men ain't women. You know, there's a reason why. You know, when there's a war, the soldiers on the front line that you know, back thousands of years ago, they had battle axes and swords and were cutting each other's heads off. It was mostly men. There would be some women in there. Women have always been able to do a lot of amazing things, but sometimes women naturally, just because they have different chemicals in their bodies, different body parts. Men don't have wombs. Men don't have estrogen, a lot of estrogen. We have a little bit, but not a lot. You know, women aren't overflowing with testosterone. Women don't, on average, grow up saying, "I want to get muddy and dirty and play football." And the thing is, people want you to believe that it's all because or this socialization. Society teaches women they don't want to get muddy and dirty and play football. No, that's stupid. Like, stop that. Like, no, there are biological differences between men and women, and the scientists have proven that. Like, that's proven scientifically. It doesn't mean one group is inferior or one group is superior. It just means that they're different. And so when we get in this white people world of like we want gender neutrality, and they have sections of clothing for children that's gender neutral. There is no boy section, no girl section. Like really, like really, do we have to let go of gender? Like, no, that's silly. So anyway, I'm gonna keep reading some of these comments to you. They're kind of interesting. Hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button. That really helps us with the algorithm. That's very important. Please hit that thumbs up button right quick. All right, so let me see here. The second, let's see, Kiana says, it all depends on what type of situation the man is in. If the man's mom is teaching him how to treat a woman, because she probably should have started teaching him early on. But if that's his way of cherishing and spending time with her while on this earth, it's a good thing. Yeah, I agree. I think that what the consensus appears to be is that if it's all about spending time with your mama, everybody supports that. I think most women, ladies, give me a yes or no if you agree with this, but I think most women appreciate a man who appreciates his mama, you know, who loves his mama, spends time with his mama, takes care of his mama, wants his mama to be good, right? I think that most women like that. But I think also most women want a grown-ass man. They want a man that's available emotionally for them, right? Emotionally and financially and otherwise. Like Alicia, she likes the fact that I'm close to my mom, that I love my mother. You know, if I was like, man, fuck my mom, I can't stand that bitch. Like, if I was like that, I don't think that would make me a lovable creature, right? But the fact that I, call my mother once a week and I say, hey, I'm gonna go visit mom. I'm gonna see how mama's doing. That gives her a sense of knowing that, hey, you have a woman in your life, you care about her, you're taking good care of her, you're making sure she's okay. But if I was like, well, I'm sorry, babe, I can only spend so much time with you because mother and I have date night coming up, and we have to do date night once a month, and then my mother's calling me every time she needs something, and I'm literally there almost like her husband, then she would probably feel like she's dating a man who's not available. Or if I was like, well, I got to go stay with my mom because that's where I've been living for my entire life, and I want to keep living there until I get old. I just think that things like that go over the line. So let me see here. Monique says she thinks it's cute. Lulu says I probably wouldn't be dating him. Let me see here. My grandfather always said, you will know how well a man treats you by how he treats his mother. So if he dates his mother every month, it's mandatory, then so should our dates be, says Aisha. Okay. So Aisha actually is okay with it too. Okay. So let's see here. Question for men only. If your mother had asked you to have a date night with her once a month when you were young, what would have been your response? So fellas, answer that question. I'd like to know, if your mother, when you were, 17, you on the football team or something, and you trying to holler at girls, and your mother's like, hey, I want to go on a date night with you. Let's go on a date. Like, how would you feel? What would you say? Personally, I ain't gonna lie. I would have probably thrown up in my mouth. I would have been like, no, "Mama, I don't really know if I want to think about you that way." Because right now I'm thinking about vagina. I'm thinking about women. I'm thinking about, all the sex that I can't have because I'm trying to figure out how to get somebody to sleep with me. I was trying to give away my virginity since I was about 13, 14 years old. Nobody would take it, unfortunately. I wouldn't want my mother in that framework, and that just wouldn't be comfortable for me. I would say, hey, if you want to have mother son time together, then that sounds awesome. Yeah, let's do that. That sounds like fun. So let's see here. Joseph Harris says no because I was too busy chasing. He uses the P word. But now I would love to have that time with my mother. Now that I'm older, he says his mom died 7 years ago. I actually see the value in date night with my mom. Now I wish I could spend time with her. So that's a real response. I like that. George says, yes, I remember playing one-on-one gin rummy with my mother. Let's see here. Boo says, you never know when she's gone. Sure, once a month is cool. Okay. Somebody says, ask my mama commands me, says Rice. Why lie says, I would have loved it. As a grown man now, I appreciate taking her out. Let's see. Caboose says, depends on the age I was. I understand the value of spending time with my mom, but I took it for granted when I was not younger. John says, sure, my mom's a joy to be around. Asanu says, I miss my mother dearly. However, a date night would have been a wonderful opportunity. Okay, so he's not saying however, it's more like in addition to. Okay, why not? Matthew says, I don't even understand the question. Live, Laugh, Love says, why are people getting caught up with the word date? It's only spending time with my mom. Okay, good, I agree. Less Confused says, no, sons should not date their mothers. Sons do not date their mothers. Words are extremely important. Maybe the mother just wants to spend time with her son, but the words definitely need to be changed. Okay, so it looks like there's actually a pretty mixed response, but a lot of men feel like date night with their mother is okay. The oldest says sounds a little weird at first, but hopefully details will follow. DSN says it's confusing. Okay, and then somebody says, what the fuck? Mothers do not date their sons. Okay, so that's interesting. I think that it's so my conclusion on this is that it's really a matter of all of that being okay for the most part, as long as it's okay, right? What does that mean? That means that if you have boundaries, right? Like if you remember for sure, that this is mother son, this is not husband wife, boyfriend girlfriend, then you're okay, right? So obviously things like incest and things like that, which don't tend to happen as much with women molesting men, it tends to happen the other way around. So as long as it's not incestuous, then it's okay, right? We know that. But also emotional incest, like people, emotional molestation, if you want to call it that, right? You have typically a lot of times when you have a child get molested, that's a female. It's something physical. It's some man in the house, an uncle, dad, something like that, who does something inappropriate to the child. It happens a lot with stepfathers, so you got to be really careful, ladies, like what men you let into your house. Men are very sexual, very physical creatures, so you never know what lies beneath. So you got to be really careful. But what we don't talk about a lot is emotional incest, molestation, harassment. A lot of women are much more emotional creatures on average than men. So a lot of times a woman may not necessarily need or desire something physical with a person to be deeply connected to them. In fact, I've seen it all the time. Like even where maybe when I'm doing what I do, I can see I've seen women that were like really in love with me, super in love with me, and I was never with them, I never touched them, etc. But it was like a deep love, or the way a singer, like the way boy bands would sing, and women would be sexually aroused because of singing. Men don't usually get sexually aroused because of somebody singing. Like that just doesn't work for us. Like they don't have a bunch of girl bands like the female version of the Beatles that's all singing and all the men are in the crowd screaming like ah, and going crazy. Like that's more of a woman thing. Women have a different kind of way of connecting with things and connecting with people. And so what I would say is that there are mothers that emotionally molest their sons, emotionally harass. There's emotional incest. There's the situation where I've seen this. I've seen cases where the mother, either because she felt guilty that the father wasn't there, or because she just was lonely herself, holding on to that son like for dear life. Like that's you're the safest emotional thing I can connect to, because men have hurt my feelings. Men have hurt me, but my baby ain't never gonna hurt me. My baby, my baby, my baby. And I can tell you, my mother was married all the time I grew up. And I was actually, relieved by the fact that she had my father to kind of occupy her time. She was thinking, when she's thinking about a man and thinking about going on dates, she's looking at him first. She's not looking at me and say, "Oh, you're the man of the house. I should be dating you on a regular." No, she didn't. My mother didn't date me. She's the mother. I was the son. We didn't date each other. It's like, well, who are you dating? Are you dating a nice girl at school? We would have mother-son time, and maybe we talk about who I was dating. But it was never like, well, you're not dating anybody. Why don't you date me? Like that didn't make any sense. So I think that in general, it seems like knowing where the boundaries should be. And I'll just say that I'm not going to sit here and criticize anybody, especially not single moms, for all, because single moms, they get enough criticism. It's hard enough out there. So I'm not even going to add to that. But I will say that overall, I have seen some boys have their growth stunted because of the emotional connection that their mother has formed to them. And it becomes a type of emotional molestation that started when they were little. So the boys never grow out of it. They grow up thinking that that's normal. They grow up thinking that it's normal that you have to spend every waking moment thinking about how your woman, the woman in your life, is doing, which is your mother, to the point where any new woman that comes into your space is like, come on, like, does it have to always be about your mama? Do we always have to make sure your mama's included, like, in everything that's going on in this relationship? A lot of grown women don't like that. And in fact, it's really interesting because I've seen cases where a mother will raise her son in a way to become the kind of man that she would not date herself. Like, she would raise him, she would think, oh, well, that's my baby. So it's okay for my baby to be connected to me at the hip. It's okay for my baby to be, the man in my house. It's okay for my baby to kind of be just smothered by me. But I wouldn't date a man like that. Like, they wouldn't date a man who was smothered by his mother, who didn't know how to draw boundaries and create enough space to let a woman in his life. Because a mother can sort of suck up all the oxygen out of a relationship to the point where a woman will say, he's not really available. He's not available to me because his mother is already kind of the dominant presence in everything that's happening, everything that's going on with him. Now, the other thing is, I think with the language piece, I think, I mean, I guess if people are okay with calling it date night, then who am I to judge? Who am I to tell you people they can't do that? But I think calling it a date night does feel a little bit creepy to some people. So I think you can call it, like, mother-son night, mommy JoJo night, get to know you night, or whatever, right? I think calling it a date night, that's a lot. That's a lot. I know personally I would have had a hard time with that. Yeah, I didn't. I never once woke up and said, I want to go on a date with my mama. Even to this day, I don't want to date my mama. My mama don't want to date me. maybe we're not compatible. Maybe we wouldn't have a good relationship. But my mother and I talk, we talk twice a week. My mother knows I'm there for her. She knows I got her back. My mama wants to take a trip anywhere on earth at any time. All she got to do is pick up the phone, and Boyce is right there with his mama. So you can love the shit out of your mama, but your mama ain't got to be your girlfriend. I know who my woman is, and I know who my mama is, and they are not the same thing. So anyway, that's it. That's my 2 cents on the topic. It's interesting. Actually, I think I touched on this a little bit in my book, Financial Lovemaking, because there are lots of dynamics when you talk about resources, money, and resources in general. And I think that it's like, when you're talking about a relationship with a person, they're bringing a certain endowment to the relationship. They're bringing resources. They're bringing a certain amount of money, a certain amount of time, a certain amount of emotional availability. And I think that one of the challenges, one of the downsides for ladies, for you, when you're dating a man who, say, has babies, mamas, and other commitments to other people, is that it's a matter of the resources being spread too very thin. It's like, okay, wait a minute, you have lots of money, but your money's eaten up by your ex-wives and your babies' mamas, and your mama want the money. You're a good guy, but emotionally you're not available because you have to be emotionally available to all these other people, right? Your time is spread out too thin, and so I think that that's where the frustration steps in, because generally speaking, in a lot of relationships, people tend to kind of want what they feel belongs to them. People become very territorial, and I have seen mothers and girlfriends fight over a son. It may not, obviously it's not sexual, but it's like, you know, who the fuck are you? You know, no, she's not good enough for you. Like, bitch, oh, that bitch didn't say that to me in my kitchen, you know, and it kind of becomes like this weird kind of thing where I think it can be very stressful on the son. And the one tip I'll give you, ladies, just in general, is like never make a man choose between you and his mother. If you make a man choose between you and his mother, you're probably going to lose that. Like that battle will almost never be won by you, even if his mother's crazy. So when you meet a man and you decide to date him, check out his mama and see if that's somebody you can deal with, because she's been, you know, occupying a certain amount of space in his life for a long time, and she's emotionally connected to him in ways that you can only imagine or dream of. And so you're going to have to make sure you fit into that. And if you can't fit into that, you might want to get to stepping. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'm about to go get out of here. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Reminder, next weekend, if you want to learn how to buy multifamily properties and you want to get into that, real estate's big. It's very important because Black people have actually lost 90% of the land that we had in 1920. Integration was not good for Black people. Integration was a net loss for Black people because we actually owned far more land in 1920 than we own now. We had far more businesses, all these other things. So we're trying to go back to the future, basically build our future by going back to the past, figuring out who we used to be. And so this weekend, Julian Gordon, who's a real estate expert and a good brother who owns a lot of property, is doing a free event in the Black Business School, totally free. We just want you guys to check out the Black Business School. We're the Harvard for Black people. We're an HBCU on steroids because we're completely independent, completely Black funded. We can be as Black as we want to be. We teach you exactly what you need to know, and we teach it in ways that nobody else teaches. So people like Dr. Claude Anderson and others are in there, and so you get a very unique kind of education with us. So we hope you'll come by and just do kind of a tour, hang out with us, let us teach you some things, let us change your life, and then maybe you'll come in and want to be a student, right? We won't leave you in debt or anything like that. So if you want to join for free, all you gotta do is sign up right now at theemancipationequation.com. THE, that's theemancipationequation.com. So if somebody could type that in so other people can see it, I'd appreciate it. Theemancipationequation.com. 2 events coming up, 2 public events. One, and I'm not going to do a whole lot of these public investment seminars. I do them because I kind of want to get out and meet people, but I don't really like to travel too much. But I'll be doing one in Los Angeles this next month, or actually in about 2 weeks now. So you can learn more about that at drboycelosangeles.com. Also, the All Black National Convention is in Houston. That's going to be amazing. You should go to allblacknationalconvention.com and fly in and spend time with amazing Black people. 3 days of all Black activities and panels and learning sessions and everything else. You're going to love it. And then last but not least, if you want to build a Black business school in your house, we believe Black people should educate our own children. So if you want to go check out our financial workbooks for children, we have a whole packet of workbooks and flashcards, a nice little bundle you can buy that won't cost a whole lot, but it'll change the life of your child. Feel free to go take a look at financialworkbooks.com. That's financialworkbooks.com. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. I will see you soon. Take care. Peace.